Okay. So, last time out we built houses. This time, other utility. I'm going to build out there somewhere. For which I'm going to need certain tools. And lots of blocks. I don't have enough blocks here by far. So the first thing I need to do is go and see how many blocks I can actually lay hands on. There's a fair number there. I don't have so many oak planks in my inventory. All this crap. I need another bucket. Maybe I don't. I have some torches. I'm gonna go down here. Thank you. I shall do that. Probably. There is always so much cobblestone. What's that? Just a hill that hasn't loaded in properly. Yes, okay. I think if I build here, then we're nice and low down. This design is to not build too high so that we can then expand above it. Let me just light up some of the space. Whoops. Okay, so I don't need to light up anywhere past there. So much fucking grass everywhere. That's not gonna be enough torches at all. And the sun's already going down. I should bring my spare bed over here. Since we are likely to be building for a while, hello sheep. So, what have we got to yak about while Minecrafting is happening? I actually managed to find time to play some Tales of Arise yesterday, after not doing so since the weekend. Which, in some ways, it's very old school. Like, it's got a straightforward... Which one of these? One of these has metal in it. There we are. I'm going to need more iron. Very straightforward plot structure that's like... There are going to be 5 countries. No, wait, I don't need the bucket. I need the iron for other things. Specifically hoppers, which I will also need some wood. Like all that wood that I left downstairs. I'm very good at preparing for things. And I'm on the wood. I'm on this. I just finished the second of the 5 countries. And the first one was just really good all the way through, straight through. Everything worked. The second one, not so much. Like, cool ideas, but also a bunch of tropes that I hate. That's 2. I also actually need to make some chests. Like so. Chests. Where's my cookers? Do I have any coal? Not in there. Not in any of those. Okay. Your storage is all down here, Eat. Is that what fuel? Yes. Like there's a big surprising plot twist with the villain. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, they just threw in the weird plot twist for the sake of having a weird plot twist, rather than in the interest of doing anything that worked for the story or fit the kind of Cold War-ish theme of the zone. It's like, this is kind of meant to be like a Soviet Russia kind of deal, where everybody might be an informant on everybody else. And as soon as you do that story, you know that the Resistance is going to have informants. But what they did with the informants was rubbish. And it also has my least favourite trope that I mostly associate with specifically Japanese media. I don't think you see it often in other contexts. I don't remember seeing it often in other contexts. Which is, there's a character who's grieving and then someone slaps them and tells them to snap out of it, which I hate a lot. Need to make 2 more hoppers. I should put the bed down. I feel like I see that trope in a pretty large number of, like, I remember it really stuck out to me in Rogue Galaxy, actually, is that where I realised how much it pissed me off. And, I mean, there's a lot that pissed me off about Rogue Galaxy. Not a very good game, but that in particular. What do we have by way of iron? I need 10 more. Also in Final Fantasy 15, funnily enough. Before I do this, I should bring more cobblestone. I also want a workbench. Actually at my work site. Like, I haven't talked about this, but I have written about it before at length, that I am not very good at grieving. and I feel like anything that makes it harder for me to grieve. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I'm glad it's not just. I'm not just imagining this. Every time I start thinking about this, I'm like, is it really as common and as bad as it is? And like, it actually is. It sucks. Don't slap people when they're grieving. No matter how obnoxious they're being, there is a time and a place, as they say. How many chests do I want? I probably need 4 chests at this point, because I need 2 for hoppers and 2 for actually being chests. Put all the cobblestone in here. Apparently this design needs 25 stacks of cobblestone. That's not a stack of cobblestone. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why are chests 9 stacks wide? That has always bugged me about Minecraft. It's not going to stop bugging me about Minecraft. We can actually make some efficiency with those, with that cobblestone, because we can use slabs in a few places in the design. That's what I wanted. Why don't I have the recipe for ladder? Let's see if I can do a better job of finding Nidakai's house than yes, big cave down hole. Kara trying to prank us. Tara. Blah, 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 blah. I'm pretty sure the spikes are over here somewhere. Nope. I thought this is where they were. Somebody had adventures here. There's Morty digging holes to stay out of trouble. I should have gone the other side of the forest. It would imply she tried to stay out of trouble. There's the badgers. They are very impressive. I suppose I could tell stories about... Oh, look at all that cobblestone. Lovely. Nuclear engineering, couldn't I? Maybe I shouldn't go down here and spoil the secrets. Is there more cobblestone down there? Or in your beds. Hey, Cozy, thanks for coming by. And some iron you missed. Yoink. I will get lost down here if I try exploring this place. All spiders have secrets. Like the secret of how do you not trip over yourself when you have that many legs. Morty must also have large quantities of cobblestone. Unless she's binned it all. Wasn't her hole over here somewhere? Oh wow. She's getting fancy. What's she doing? We're going to come back here one day and there's going to be, like, a Gundam in the pit. AV Unit 1 or something. Cobblestone, 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 cobblestone. She should get rid of that banner. I'm glad to see she kept all those beds I made for her. Universal trans-girl instinct. Dig hole. Create horrors inside. Actually, when you put it like that, that almost makes sense. In its own drastic sort of way. Where are we? Going the wrong direction. Somewhere over here, I think. Yeah, there we go. There's spawn. Right, note to self. Need to go the right way around the forest. Because what I did before was I set off in that direction, so I must have gone the long way around. I promise that by next week I will have mixed at least one more track of BGM. But comping piano takes so long. I'm so backlogged on like recordings that I've made, but I just haven't like comped properly. Where I've got like 6 takes of the thing, and I just need to glue all the good bits together. 9, 18, 27, that's loads. Cool. Let's make some slab. 3. Yes. This weird Minecraft mechanic where things will fall through solid stone if it's thin enough. I love video games, but they don't half make no fucking sense most of the time. So the idea is monsters will fall onto here and die. And their stuff will phase through the stone into the hoppers and through the hoppers into the chests. Eventually. What What else do I need to do? My throat has gone exceptionally dry, which is a good start. I guess we just get started with the building. I'm so glad that they haven't like compromised on any of the goofiness. I have scaffolding. I should use the scaffolding. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have enough scaffolding. Lexi very kindly made. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Almost high enough. 21, 22. I think that's right. It might actually need to be 23, but I got really confused there because the scaffolding stopped making the noise. Down we go. This, of course, is the easy part. I'll have to be honest, I might end up using some server commands to manage daytime while I'm about this. Oh, I've done a silly. There we go. What else I got to talk about? Had a sad day at work today because on one of my modules, basically all the students who took the resit have failed the resit. It's a really hard module and attendance was really bad this year. Understandably, because like COVID and attending during COVID is horrendous. And the particular kinds of teaching that the module need are not great in an online environment. And it's a formal logic module, so I teach on a philosophy course, and most of what we do is like essay assessments. And with essays, it's very easy to at least give a passing grade to almost everyone who takes them. But with formal logic is basically like maths. It has right answers and wrong answers, and if you don't get anywhere in the vicinity of the right answers, then there's really nothing we can do. So I've got a lot of students with very, very low marks. And I did all the things that I normally do to try to get them to attend. I have a collection of graphs which show that pretty consistently now across, I think I have 6 years of data, students get a mark that's somewhere between half and some between their attendance percentage and half their attendance percentage. So everybody who attends at least 8 out of 10 classes passes, because the pass mark's 40. And with everything that's been going on, lots of people just didn't attend enough. Wait. It's getting dark. How far out have I lit? Have I lit it well enough? Some patches over there which I could do with lighting up a bit more. I really need to just do some massive off-stream mining. Get us all the coal we could possibly need. Could also use charcoal, I guess, but the other thing is that once this is built, I'm going to have to dig under these chunks and make sure that every cave and mine in the vicinity is lit up. Which will be its own kind of tedious. Pardon me. Like, the thing I like about Minecraft is that because it's been accumulating mechanics now for over a decade, you can see where a completely innocuous decision like 8 years ago has just stuck. And now we all just have to deal with it. Which is very fun to me. It's kind of like WoW lore. You know, WoW lore is bad objectively. A lot of it is terrible. But it's been piling up on top of it for so long, on top of itself for so long, that now there's just lots of really funny, odd, loose ends left in the game. I love it when a game has that sense of like material history to it. You know, WoW in particular, like there are whole quest chains in WoW that just completely dead end. Good, it's not just me. I once watched the entirety. There's a guy called Nobble who does like WoW lore videos and has a, I forget, it's like, I think at the time it was about an 80-hour playlist of all his lore videos, and I watched the whole thing. I'm gonna need to put this up. Incredibly satisfying sound of a big stack of scaffolding breaking. I'm so glad they added scaffolding. This needs to go up a corner, so it's out the way. There is a moment in the archives of mine and Lexi's old podcast where I announced that I'm going to do this. Watch this WoW lore podcast playlist. And I did it. I did the whole thing. That was right after they had just... What was it? Hang on, I need to count this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, the thing I'm going to need is trapdoors. That's the other ingredient in this format. Yeah, so this happened not long after they started publishing WoW lore Bibles. And, why did I do that? Very shortly after, so they published the second WoW lore Bible, and then the very next content patch that they released in game contradicted the lore Bible that they just published. Yeah. This character is definitely dead, and then she's a boss in the next raid. Okay, good news. I have more HP than monsters. Bad news, ow. I don't have quite the same scarring as a lot of WoW lifers, because I actually didn't play it for that long, only for about a year. But I went pretty hard while I was in there. In that particular hole. My year of WoW, I logged almost 2,000 hours of playtime. Which is a lot, but you don't really realise how much it is. I've lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoops, 7, 8. You don't really realise how much time it is until you do the math and you realise that there are only 8,000 hours in a year. 8,400? So I'd spent more than 1 hour in 5 for a full year playing Blizzard's shitty, awful MMO. Yeah. Because I was, it's two things. One is I was playing with a guild that included some people that I really liked. One of whom I'm still friends with to this day. Only one. 3, 4. Oops. Next stack. And to be fair to the others, it's not that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To be fair to the others, it's not that I fell out with them. It's just that I stopped playing the game and thus didn't have any space where I was in contact with them at all. Because this was before everybody had a Discord for all their guilds. We had a Facebook group, which is a bleak-ass place to have a gaming community. I'm going to have to be careful here, because once I build the next bit, maybe I'll just remove that block for now, and then I can get onto the scaffolding. But yeah, it just drifted away from the rest of them. But playing with good people makes any MMO good. Makes any game good. 6, 7, 8. I hope I counted that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I actually had some of the best gaming experiences I've ever had doing progression raiding with that group of people that year. We finished up the last raid before Christmas by getting our first kill on the boss we'd been progressing for like a couple of weeks. And that was such a good feeling. The reason I will never play an MMO again is because even if we had equally good raiding times, it would always suffer in comparison to that, in the way that these things do. I've still got cobblestone. Let's keep going. Well, actually, this is a place where I can start using slab, provided I'm careful how I place it. Missed. Maybe I shouldn't do the jumpy one first. So as I understand it, what is supposed to happen here? So we have this area made of the slabs, which the monsters will spawn on. And then these are canals full of water, which will carry them towards the centre. And then they will fall down the hole and take lots of damage. is a bit of a trick because they won't fall off the ledges on their own. So I need to go back and make a bunch of trapdoors. But it's all very ingenious, you know. Very clever. Anyway, that's why I don't play FF14, which I'm sure by this point is actually much, much better than WoW ever was. I will be content to try to make any kind of heads or tails of the memes. And mostly fail. I did play 2.0 through 2.5 on the free trial. Got through the whole thing in a month. Let me sleep! Which was a fucking lot of FF14, honestly. But I think A Realm Reborn really suffers from, and certainly did then. Maybe some of the fixes they've put in have changed this, but at the time it really felt to me like they hadn't yet moved far enough away from WoW in terms of like their template. That's the wrong thing. There we go. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's an industrial building. And it's not even like chic industrial, which I want to figure. Oh, there's Morty's pit. That's good. That means that this will be visible from there, and so when she wants to find her way back to spawn, she'll be able to by just looking for the tower. Also means that so one concern with the placement of this is it's only going to operate when it's unloaded in chunks, and because we've got the server set so tamely on that front for now, I think we probably could up that setting. It might not run unless somebody's like idling right underneath it. But the closer it is to where people are building, the better. Did I finish the thought about 14? Because I had, this is like, so my WoW year was like 2013-14. And then after that I played Guild Wars 2, and I got a max level character in Guild Wars 2. And then kind of got bored of that game. But obviously Guild Wars 2 is very different in terms of how it plays to WoW. I really liked some of the like massively multiplayer world gameplay. The super world bosses in Guild Wars are really cool. Even if they are also like quite hard. I did manage to participate in kills of the 5 big dragons that were in the like 1.0 version of the game, I think technically is what it was. That's just, I mean, I love a game that can do spectacle, and that game could do spectacle. And then going from that to playing 14 kind of felt like a step back at the time. Just because 14 in ARR was so similar to WoW in how it worked. Yeah, there's some cool stuff. Oh god, the crafting system. I did master 2 jobs. I can't remember which ones. The first thing that comes to mind actually when I think of Guild Wars is grinding out wood cutting, like hunting down the rare woods that I needed in the tail end areas of the leveling progression. Which those were some cool, like, kind of hell worldy kind of areas. Where I forget what it was called, the like blight stuff reigned supreme and everything was like giant distended corals and rot and decay and cursed and shit. And Guild Wars 2 had jumping puzzles. That was the one thing that I like did everything of, was the jumping puzzles. Being the weirdo I am that likes jumping around things in MMOs. Okay, we're getting there. This is actually going rather quicker than I was expecting it to. I've been 45 minutes, and already almost laid the entire floor. And provided I'm diligent about sleeping, nothing should spawn up here. I don't know if anybody's watched the like hour-long clip compilation that somebody made of the Hololive EN effort to build one of these things. They were using a slightly different design, but oh my god. Hilarious stuff, but also I was crying with frustration on Ami's behalf whenever anything went wrong with the damn thing. And a creeper blew it all up. Just horrifying. So I'm trying to be really careful about... Have I missed a course? Ah! Didn't go far enough out. There we go. Really careful about making sure stuff doesn't spawn until I'm ready for it to. I have realised, though, that these spots should not be passable. That one's going to have to stay. Oh, it's okay. Time for therapeutic block placing. The best Minecraft experience is when you can just like do a single repetitive action over and over again without worrying. It's like a haptic version of ASMR. Unless you build things in the wrong place. Whoops. Let's sort that out. It's another place where I needed to go out one course further. I think I've made the same mistake all the way round. That's so annoying. Technically, I don't actually need this course, but yeah, 'cause I haven't done it there either. Do I have any slabs left? I do! At least it didn't result in me having to go back down to ground level. That would be really annoying. Oh man. This is the sort of thing that got me through actually writing my PhD thesis. Just making bits of land flat or building long stretches of wall. I would get up at like noon most days, work really intensely on the thesis for 2 or 3 hours until I couldn't think anymore, and then I would just build shit in Minecraft until it was time to go to sleep. Not the healthiest lifestyle in a lot of ways, but as ways to cope with doing a PhD go, better than many. Like, oh man. Let's ban you. I'm so bad at using the... Why don't I make Nidakai a mod? That seems like a sensible decision. Congratulations, you have mod power. I have like fucking loads of mods, but as far as I'm concerned, you can never really have too many. You have my sword, or a sword. There are no duties associated with this role, but if you see people starting shit, finish it for me. Because I am known to... You should now have a little... If you click on a username, you should now have a little, like, mod tools pop up. It's got, like, ban and timeout and stuff. It's mostly just for bopping bots. I very rarely have anybody, like, starting trouble in my stream. Because nobody cares about anything I do, but never mind. Oops, daisy. There we go. One monster farm. I think what I'm going to do now, before I get any further into this, check that I have understood correctly how the waterworks component of this is supposed to work. What's that pond? Have you figured out Minecraft's jank-ass water system yet? This is another one of those. I see why they did it like that, but also, what the hell? I wish we had more iron. Then I could have made 2 buckets without feeling like I was wasting a precious resource. Whoops, a daisy. There. Actually, before I do that, let's check that I've got the distance right. Okay, cool. Jolly good. That does mean that a monster that falls down here isn't actually going to get dragged anywhere. So it makes sense to close that off. Your source block. Goofy ass system. I can't wait for the first time Morty wants to do anything with water. And someone has to explain her the difference between source and flowing blocks. She's gonna get so mad. It'll be glorious. Right. This will be a good test, actually. Let's find out. There you go. If this system is working correctly, then those blocks I just broke should end up in the... Look at them go! It's so satisfying when it stops so neatly at the edge. Have they ended up in the crates at the bottom? Yes! The system works. Ugh. Why, when I play builder games, do I hold my neck at an angle that strains it? What is it for trapdoors? Not that. That's slabs. Oh god. That's my first trip to the Minecraft Wiki for the day. Bum ba bum ba ba bum ba bum. Oh my god. Oh yeah, there we go. This is gonna be so expensive, I need so many of these fucking things. And they're 6 planks a time. Well, no, 6 planks for 2. $32 is probably only about half as many as I need. Do. So what this does is it tricks the monsters into thinking that there's floor there because there's something in the tile space. I shouldn't actually need a gap here anymore. By the way, Nidakai, I should have asked this sooner, and I keep forgetting. How do you feel about contractions of your name? Like Nida, for example. I'm in the bad habit of just arbitrarily shortening everybody's name as soon as possible. I don't really know why. Where can I get more wood from? I need another 32, so 16 crafts of the recipe. You have indeed. You did a better job of it than I have. I've been calling her Morty, but I think Momo is much funnier. One advantage of my name only being 3 letters long is that it is not subject to such treatment. Into the woodshed. God, this thing is hideous. It's excellent. At some point, I might want to light up the shaft a bit. Hair, shaft, etc. I mean, it is full of monsters. And it will only get taller with time. Where are those oak logs I just went all that way to pick up? What the fuck? Why? There's really only so much you can do with cobblestone in this game before it starts to look ominous. It's a good texture. It's a lot better than most of the basic textures in the game. I hate the dirt textures so much. Oh my god. I really picked the fucking log up and placed it there. What am I doing? Now I shall have to sleep in the hole again. So anyway, nuclear engineering, nuclear accidents, and my intense fascination with all matters nuclear disaster. I've mentioned this story on stream before. I don't think I've ever like told it in full. So my granddad worked in the British nuclear program, and I use the word program there deliberately. It was when he started working in it, still the British nuclear weapons program. That should be all I need, I think. Although power generation was fairly quickly added. Oh, hidden metaphor. Many hidden metaphors. There we go. You want not hidden metaphors, you got to see what Nida's been building in this server. Let's chat. But yeah, Grandad worked in... We actually don't know because he signed the Official Secrets Act and therefore was never allowed to say. But probably in polonium extraction. You might remember polonium as the really, really poisonous one that is sometimes used by agents of the Soviet government in assassinations. Its main use, the main reason that it was actually mass-produced at one point, its main use is in the triggering mechanisms for atomic bombs. Anyway, this was done at a place called, as was then, Windscale. A facility called Windscale in the Lake District in the United Kingdom. The wild and weatherful area of the northwest. That is definitely not what I want you to do, scaffolding. There we go. Cool, this is in the right place. And the thing about Windscale, it was built in a hurry. It was built in a hurry because the NATO countries, whoops, Daisy, there we go. I think possibly pre-NATO, but what would become the NATO group of countries, had agreed a nuclear testing ban. And the British government wanted nuclear weapons of its own, because the only nuclear weapons at the time were the American ones. The British government wanted nuclear weapons of its own. But the Americans weren't cooperating in sharing the designs, so we needed to do our own tests. The place that I'm getting to the fire. I'm getting to the fire. And yeah, so they put this thing together in a rush. And the thing, so this was the way you generate fuel for nuclear bombs is you have a nuclear reactor of the kind that are used for power generation, roughly, doing the same kind of things that are used for power generation. Because what happens inside is that you get transmutation of the more common forms of uranium into the less common forms of uranium that are useful for making bombs, and also plutonium. The main purpose of this process is to make plutonium. So you need a nuclear reactor, so they built some nuclear reactors. And nuclear reactors are normally water-cooled. This makes sense. If you are going to build a system whose primary purpose is to get extremely hot, water is a pretty good coolant. It's fairly readily available. It's fairly chemically calm in air. And it puts out fires. The problem with water is, as you will know if you've ever lived in a house that's had any kind of leak, it gets everywhere. So you need to do something to control it. You need relatively complex piping systems. The British engineers designing the Windscale reactors didn't want to deal with that shit. Basically, they didn't have time to do a proper job of it. So they went with what, to my knowledge, is the only time this has been done deliberately, an air-cooled nuclear reactor. If you remember your high school chemistry, kids, air, or rather the oxygen in air, is the thing that allows things to catch fire when they get very hot. And sure enough, after the wind-scale reactor had been running for a little while, I say a few years, long enough that the facility had been fully commissioned and my granddad was working there. By that time, in a not a senior role, but a kind of middle management role. It caught fire. It is believed that what happened is that one of the canisters holding the uranium fuel split. Wasn't perfectly sealed or had corroded because uranium's a bugger of a substance to work with at the best of times. And uranium's flammable in oxygen. And it's bloody hot in the center of this thing, hundreds of degrees Celsius. And so as soon as the split happened, there was ignition. That caused more damage to more fuel canisters, which meant more fire. And then you have a problem. Because you don't have a way of, like, seeing inside the reactor at all. For lots of perfectly good reasons, not least of which is that gamma rays are just, like, very potent, high-frequency light and will blind any conventional camera or eye that you put where you can see the inside of a reactor. So it's a bad place to try to look into. All you've got in there basically are a set of temperature sensors. And they could see that things were too hot, because again, on fire. But they didn't know why. So they tried to do all the usual things to cool the reactor, which you will remember is air-cooled. And so the cooling system was to blow more air in. And the problem with that is more air means more fire. The reason I'm building this way, by the way, is so that I'm not creating actual monster spawning capable darkness in here until the last possible minute. Does mean there might be some falls. So the first, as is the case with almost every serious nuclear disaster story, if you look at the details, disasters usually happen not because something goes wrong with a reactor. Things go wrong with reactors, as much as they do with other machinery, but always because the thing that went wrong produced a sensor reading which led the people operating the reactor to do the wrong thing. This happened very dramatically at 3 Mile Island. It's the whole story of Chernobyl is a sequence of, like, oh, the sensor looks funny, let's do the thing that we think we're supposed to do, and it's exactly the opposite because the sensor isn't telling them what they think it is. Fukushima's a bit different. Fukushima, it's a bit more complicated. But the vast majority, it's the sensor says a thing, we think the thing to do in response to the sensor is this, and the thing they do turns out to be exactly the worst possible thing they could have done. Like turning the fan up on a fire in the middle of a nuclear reactor. Now, reactor crises play out over hours or days, believe it or not. Usually once something blows up, things have been out of control for a while. And the wind-scale fire is maybe the slowest nuclear disaster in history. Kind of for that reason. But they know something's up. And they're not sure what it is, and the things that they're trying are not working. And here's the really terrifying part about air-cooled nuclear reactor. The air that was being blown through this thing was not being recycled. In a water cooling system, it's a closed system, so the water that's used for the cooling just goes round and round in circles. And heat is then transferred to a second kind of cooling loop that cools the first cooling loop, and so on. the air that was cooling this thing was just being blown up a chimney and sprayed out over the Lake District countryside. And there was a filter on top of the chimney, which was added to the design late because one of the engineers involved, Cockcroft, had basically had a nightmare that something like the fire would happen. He turned out to be dead right. Prior to that, these filters were called Cockcroft's Folly because they were an enormous effort and expenditure of resources to create and put in place after the fact, kind of midway through construction. But as it happened, they turned out to be absolutely necessary. And the reason that they were finally able to confirm that yes, what's going on in there is a fire is because somebody climbed up the chimney and looked down it into the back of the reactor. I just placed that in the wrong place. That sucks. This is like 1957. This is nuclear technologies in its infancy. Computers are in their infancy. A guy is literally climbing up the outside of like a 50-foot industrial chimney outside a nuclear reactor building to peer down the chimney and see if he can see like firelight. Which, sure enough, he can. And yeah. Then things go into overdrive and they do their best to shut down the reactor, which of course bits of it are damaged by the fire, so it doesn't shut down properly and so on. And my granddad and my dad, who was 57, primary school age, late primary school age, are on holiday that week. It's school half term or something. They're visiting family at the other end of the country. But Dad tells the story of his dad going to a phone booth to when the news breaks that there's something wrong at the plant, to call in and ask, do you need me to come back? And again, 1957. I need to take those 2 blocks out. Because this isn't an efficient design, so I need to maximize the possible spawn rate. Where did that one just go? I placed one somewhere in the wrong place. Where is it? I can't see it. So they have to go to a phone booth to place a long distance call. And the call happens by, actual human beings in telephone exchanges all the way up the country, having to manually plug in wires. So it takes a while for the call to go through across a distance of maybe a couple 100 miles. And so Grandad amuses my dad and his maybe one of his younger siblings as well by trying to guess at which exchanges the phone signal is going through. Unfortunately, they don't need him to drop everything and drive all the way back home. And while the fire is a serious incident, and lots of... so the big thing that happens is that there's a worry about escaping radioactive iodine spraying over the countryside and getting into the, landing on the grass, being eaten by the cows, and ending up in the milk supply. Milk is a staple food for kids. There's real worry that there's going to end up being a lot of iodine poisoned kids. In the end, my understanding is that there's basically no evidence of anybody being terribly seriously affected by it. And if anybody would have been, it would have been my dad, because he lived about half a mile downwind of the plant. And as I say, he was the perfect age, 9-ish, to be really hurt by it. If it had happened, and he turned out fine, and I think I turned out fine, pond-dwelling insect notwithstanding, do I need to do anything else, or do I just close this thing up and hope it works? This is like upgrading a computer. Like, you're really, really confident through the whole process, and as soon as you have to turn it on, you freeze up. It's like, did I do everything right? Am I about to blow up my expensive components? Also, I might not quite have enough slab. I'm just going to do it and we'll see. Or I could do that and waste slabs. But yeah, that's my personal connection to nuclear disasters. A couple of years ago, for Christmas, I got my dad a book about... it's basically a history of nuclear engineering told through the stories only of the disasters. Which is a cheerily bleak sort of Christmas present. My family is not terribly sentimental about Christmas, so it amuses us a bit to give each other bleak presents. And there's a chapter in there on the Windscale fire. And Dad went through, and next to all the names in it, has noted down, oh yeah, this was my dad's mate, this was my dad's drinking buddy, this was my dad's boss, that sort of thing. Which is deeply funny to me. But they were, he knew almost all the kind of main characters of the story, one way or another. He also worked there himself briefly, he did a kind of year in industry before going up to university, and he did it in his dad's department at the nuclear. I haven't heard any monsters spawning yet. One thing we can do once we get up to the point where we've got like Silk Touch pickaxes is we can go and find monster spawners and just pop them in here. I'm just gonna... Well, it looks dark enough. Maybe it doesn't actually. Why is it lit around the edges? Oh, maybe the edges don't... maybe the planks don't block the light. That'd be annoying. I mean, I'd have to come up and add more stuff. And particularly I need to build a row around the outside at the bottom. Well, nothing spawned yet. Time to start illuminating caves in the immediate vicinity. Oops. Oh, copper. still haven't encountered any need for copper whatsoever in this game. Anybody? Anybody? How long have we been going? An hour and 20. That's not bad for an hour and 20. Hour and 25 minutes. Provided it actually spawns some mobs. Which it does not appear to be doing. I think the problem is probably that I built the floor out of the wrong stuff. So I'm going to have to go up and fix it from underneath. Now we're going to see me die a lot. I shall also need more slab to do this properly. Yeah, if it was working, it would have spawned something by now. Where's my scaffolding? Why do I only have 20 pieces of scaffolding? Where have the other 9 gone? There they are. Why does scaffolding spray so far when you break it? That's not high enough. Is this high enough? Still kind of not really. Ow. First of all, that might be too high. No sound of monsters spawning at all. I thought monsters would spawn provided they were on the on slab, provided it was on the upper course. Maybe I was wrong. Da da da. Let's go here. Stop doing that. That didn't help very much. Ugh. Oh, what else have I got to talk about? I'm working on a bunch of things that I can't talk about, unfortunately. I spent a huge amount of time this week editing videos, and I can't say what's in them. Which is a shame, because I've done some cool stuff. Well, I guess I can say that I have finally upgraded from my aging copy of Vegas 14. Which I was, this problem where if you use a particular piece of software for doing anything creative, you get used to it and the specific ways it works, and then when you switch to something newer and better, you suck at it. And I switched to DaVinci Resolve, which apparently is the thing all the pros are using now. And the free version is very good, apparently. But lots of like keyboard shortcutty type things are different. So to give one example, instead of del being the remove clip key, it is specifically remove and close gap. So like you remove the clip section and then also all other clips that overlap with it on the timeline, which has already caused me to lose like 2 hours work. Probably not as much as 2 hours work, because I deleted the long clip and it took out all the short clips that I had laid over it. This is not helpful. Stupid scaffolding. Also, the scroll wheel actually scrolls through the timeline rather than zooming in and zooming out. Oops, too high. Not too high. Wrong course. I need to be over there. Dang it. Very bad at correctly placing scaffolding. Anyway, the outcome of that particular development, as is in new editing software, is that now there are teeth marks on my keyboard wrist rest because I was editing, I guess it was Tuesday night late, and I didn't want to scream, but I had to do something to vent my frustration at the loss of progress. And being the kind of creature I am, chewing something seemed like the appropriate move. It's still not going to be the right place. Oh my god. Ouch. Still no sign of anything spawning. Why? Something should have spawned by now. What's the button? Is it F5? It's not cursed at all. It's just upside down. They don't make Steves that look like dragonfly nymphs, so I kind of have to improvise. Do something non-aesthetic. Yep, there is definitely nothing spawning here. It's definitely dark enough. Whoops. Oh god. Nope, that's not what we want to do. I'm stuck. Oh, this is bad. So it looks like that far corner. I'm gonna take a risk. Break myself up inside here. Okay, so the problem is that the slabs that I thought I was being so clever by using instead of blocks, because it would be a material efficiency, aren't actually blocking the light. So these blocks all count as lit. Like everywhere here counts as lit. God damn it. What do I need to do? Sort those over. Where was my escape route? Was it here? Oh, I've made a terrible error. Wasn't here at all. Wasn't even on this side of the building. Here. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. Here somewhere. Exactly there somewhere. Cool. Now I have to relay all these fucking blocks. It will get progressively darker as I do. And then monsters might start spawning. As previously noted, the last thing that I want to have happen to me is for monsters to spawn while I'm in here working on the place. That is how you get Watson a bunch. Don't fall in the fucking water again. Come this far without dying. I'm sure now that this is the mistake that's going to result in me doing something that actually kills me. Won't be a high cost death because my spawn is right there, but oh dear. Nope. It's easy. This stack of cobblestone should have covered the whole of this quadrant. And I've made so many mistakes that have resulted in blocks getting dropped. I've come up 3 short. There we go. Look at all this cobblestone slab I'm going to have now that I don't need. Actually, I can use the slab up top. Four stacks should be enough. I'll take one more just on the safe side. Where was I up to? I was up to here. I think what irritates me most about this is it's going to wear out my pickaxe. It's still too early days in the server yet for iron to be cheap. We'll get there, because we do already have a village that's big enough to spawn iron golems, so we can already do the thing. With only minor crimes against humanity. That'll be a fun stream for maybe next week. I'm getting impatient. I'm getting impatient. Where? That one. Not sure I did. Wait. So how's everybody else doing? I suppose I haven't actually talked about the massive disruption of my life this week that has been having a new boiler fitted. kind of cursed when it comes to boilers. Since I stopped living in, like, purpose-built student apartment accommodation. Well, here's hoping. I should go and sleep, though, because if I'm in here at night, it would be very bad. Oh my fucking god, those are pillagers. Shit, run away. But collect the slabs first. Fuck off. Oh god, I'm gonna die. I hate everything. Ah! Can I get far enough away from the pillagers to sleep? They don't move terribly fast. But I have no ranged weaponry and there are like 4 of them. Okay. Ah. Of all the fucking things. Right. Food. We shall eat cow flesh. I do have a shield. Let's eat that last cod as well. Oh my god, he's right there. Look at that. And now I am cursed. Only that guy followed me. I picked his banner. Yeah. Great. Whoop. Hopefully that was all of them. Oh, one of them dropped a crossbow. It's got no durability left. So that's fun. That really should have been the death of me. I'm just going to chuck this. And it can despawn on its own. And later I shall go and eat a cow. Not eat a cow, milk a cow. Oh, what a plot twist. Where the fuck was I up to? That's all done. I think I was somewhere over here, maybe? They're all done. Those are some cool emotes. Whose emotes are those? Do, 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 do. I really hope that this is actually the problem and I'm not doing all of this unnecessarily. I have a sneaking suspicion that I probably don't need to do the bottom layer. And that it's the top layer that's the problem. Crap. Don't try to jump in a 2-block high space. Eat. That will go very poorly. That doesn't work. You'll bonk your head and then you'll fall. I think once I'm done with this one, then we're fine. Once I'm done with this quarter, then I can go up on top and just place all of these slabs down again on top to make 2 extra layers of slab. Okay, and then this. Break a block here. Yes. So I think what I need to do do this actually. You just spiral around this. Placing down all these slabs so that this ceiling becomes 2 blocks deep. Sorry, it becomes a 4 block deep. Back to that chill, patient Minecraft thing of I've got to do the same thing over and over a million times. I always like building things in a, like if you've got a layer floor or something in Minecraft, if you build it in a spiral pattern, I've always liked the way that that means that each successive lap is a little bit faster than the one before it. These are the kinds of things I think about. It's not any more efficient. Any route where you only do consecutive block placements, so you don't do any diagonals, is equally efficient, but, well, equally efficient. Some question, I suppose, to be asked about which corners are easiest to turn. This might be enough on its own, actually, to get monsters to spawn, even with the holes in the ceiling. The really tricky thing is that I want to do this and then go around and add another layer of slabs. Because the advantage of using slab rather than block on top of this thing It's supposed to be that monsters won't spawn in the top half of a block. So that level is the top half of a block, and monsters wouldn't spawn on it. This level is the top of a block. Or the bottom of a block. So monsters will spawn unless it's lit, or I go around and add another layer on. Oh, boiler installs. It's the 5th time a house I've lived in has had a boiler replacement. 2nd time in this flat in 4 years. Because last time when my boiler broke, it was the very beginning of February in an absolutely miserable year. And I was about to go on strike. So I had to get someone in who could fit a boiler cheaply, quickly. The problem with people who can fit a boiler cheaply and quickly on short notice is that the cost of the speed is often quality. And I knew they hadn't done a great job. I did not fully appreciate how bad a job had been done. Let me sleep! Until the guy who came to fit the new boiler on Tuesday removed the old boiler, and he said, you know, I don't want to scare you, but your old boiler wasn't actually attached to the wall. There was basically, like, he'd disconnected it from all the pipes underneath it, and it had more or less come off in his hands. Because the problem is, like, my boiler cubby is extremely small. It's about as narrow as it can be and still be building regs compliant to have a boiler in it. It's the only place in the flat a boiler can go. But it is difficult to work in. And I do sympathise with the boiler fitters having to fit the damn thing in there. But also the old boiler was not properly installed, and it was also, in addition to not being fixed to the wall, it was also too high up in the cabinet to be properly serviced. Anyway, now I have a well-fitted boiler, except that it keeps tripping its breaker circuit, which is going to have to be investigated soon. I'm going to not have enough slab after all of that. All the water noises are starting to make me really need the loo. This isn't good. Whoops. Looks a bit darker in here. Especially over there. Remind me before I come back up here. that I need to put these 3 scaffolding pieces back. What am I doing? There we go. 60 should be enough. We have reached the vibing to the BGM part of the stream. Running out of things to talk about. The one problem, apart from the fuse cutout thing with the new boiler, is that because it is new technology, it has to come with some Internet of Things bullshit attached. I think the company is technically owned by Amazon, although I'm not entirely sure, I have to admit. That's my way down. That shouldn't have been a slab. Should be a block. Okay. Plug these holes. It certainly looks dark enough to spawn some monsters now. Let's see if it does. How far apart do these need to be? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I might be too close now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm just laying it up. There we go. Maybe if I go one further out with these, actually. This row out to the square and go there. And there. Right. Did I miss one strip? No. Well, I built the thing. in there. There may just be too many spawning locations underground still. I will have to check. There's a thing you can do, and I don't know how to do it, that'll let you see what caves are underground fairly straightforwardly. For now, though, I want to go and get rid of this curse. And then I think it will be time to stop, because standing so close to running water for so long has rather left me in a little bit of a need for the facilities. This is my house. It's not perfect because, irritatingly, you can't do most of the stone crafting stuff that the game allows with other stone with amethyst. There we go. There's my handiwork. I think it looks somewhat less ominous like this. But thank you very much for the company, everyone. And probably more Minecraft shenanigans on Thursday. My next stream, not next. It is Thursday. God, that's the kind of week I'm having. What am I doing at the weekend? I still don't know what I'm doing at the weekend. Because I think I'm not going to stream any more FF12. So I might have to think of something. But we'll see how it goes. Monday I'll be back with more Halo, because I'm going to start Halo Reach. But next week is a different country. I think Morty might be playing Disco Elysium or something tomorrow? Or was that yesterday? And I'll bully Lexi into streaming something over the weekend, but I'm not sure what. All of which to say, good night.